Hey y'all, Lance from Permanent Records here, back with another video. This time around, I'm going to go over the process by which we buy record collections. If you haven't heard of us before, Permanent Records is a record store and it happens to be a live music venue in a bar in LA, but we've been a record store since 2006. Our first store was in Chicago, and we've been buying record collections for nearly 18 years. I've bought so many record collections over the years, it's hard to remember all of them. We bought big record collections, small record collections, jazz record collections, rock record collections, you name it. We've had just about everything you can possibly imagine come through our hands at this particular time. Up to this particular time, we've had the highest of high-end collectibles and bought thousands of dollar bin records as well. There was a time when we had a buyer for any record for a quarter. So we used to buy anything and we bought in bulk. Nowadays we're a little bit more selective about what we buy, but we still do buy common records because we can sell them in the shop. They've been our bread and butter. Before I get into how we buy record collections at Permanent Records, please click the like button, click the subscribe button if you'd like to continue getting this kind of content. I want to keep creating it for you, but I only want to do that if you're actually interested. So clicking the subscribe button will show me that you do care and that this video and these kinds of videos are worth my time. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. We just started this channel late in 2023, so we're only about 6 months into this, but we're doing well with it and we're having a lot of fun in the meantime. So thank you again for watching this video and for liking. Smash the like button, as they say, and subscribe to this channel, please, so you can continue to be fed this free information that I'm giving to you. So a lot of people who are into record collecting are mostly into buying records. They go to record stores or wherever, thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, anywhere you can buy them, and they buy them and they collect them, and then usually keep the majority of them until they are forced into a position to have to unload them, in which case then they'll sometimes bring them to a record store like ours, or take it upon themselves to sell them online on eBay or Discogs or whatever. I'll do another video sometime about the pros and cons of selling online in general and on either one of those platforms. But that said, we get offered record collections of all sizes and types very regularly, and I just picked up another big one. This one was 13 boxes all told. They came in these Home Depot small boxes, so not exactly 100 records per box because LPs don't fit super well in these Home Depot boxes. They fit a lot better in boxes made specifically for vinyl records. But one pro tip is, if you are moving a large quantity of records across state lines, or I guess whatever, if you're taking your record collection and you have 100 or more records, the small boxes from U-Haul fit LPs in them pretty perfectly, and they're pretty inexpensive as well. There may be a less expensive option out there, but almost everyone has access to a U-Haul store in a neighboring community, and that is an easy way to move boxes from one place to another. So anyway, we picked this record collection up. We got an email. We get these kinds of emails all the time. We get emails and calls about record collections for sale from private collectors. And this gentleman, Alan, he was located in Pasadena, which is just down the road from us in Northeast LA. That's where our store is, by the way, if you're not familiar. And he said he had about 800 records he was looking to unload. He's just downsizing, minimizing his life. He was still keeping his turntable and some of the records that he had procured over the years, and he wanted to unload the rest. So I made an appointment, met up with him at his house, and I went into his basement, poked through the boxes. I said, yeah, this is all pretty good stuff. Well, it was a mixed bag, but I saw plenty of good stuff in the mix to justify saying, all right, let me take this stuff away. I'll go home, evaluate it piece by piece, and I'll send you a quote. And that's what we did. That's oftentimes what we do. And I would say that anybody who is coming to your house or looking at your record collection and just eyeballing it is probably full of crap. They more than likely are lowballing you on the overall value of the records. And how could they possibly know off the top of their head the current value in today's market for every single record that you have in your collection? Even a very experienced record buyer doesn't know the current value of every random record in anyone's collection. So that's why I like to do it the way that we try to do it whenever it's possible, and bring the records back, or bring a laptop or two, depending on how many people we have with us, to the location where the records are and look them up piece by piece, and then offer a fair price per record based on the sales statistics on Discogs. Of course, there's some things that aren't on Discogs. We use other websites like GripSweat or PopPsych to look up things like that. But 99% of the records in most record collections can be located and evaluated based on the statistics and the sales history on Discogs. That's one of the things that Discogs is most valuable for. Of course, you can buy and sell records on Discogs, but I like to use it for evaluating record collections because I think it's a really fair way to evaluate things. Sure, some statistics might be a little high based on any given title, and some things might be a little on the low end of what you can get it in a real world scenario, but I think it's a pretty fair way. And at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in the law of averages. You take the high stuff and the low stuff, they offset each other, and everything in the middle makes it end up working out all right. So anyway, that's what we do. We either people bring us records or we go to them, and we like to, whenever possible, look every single record up and make an offer based on that. It's that simple. Discogs is the ultimate playing field leveler. We're all on the same, playing the same game on the same field. We all have access to the same information. It keeps things super fair, and yeah, that's why I've been doing it that way for a long time now. Before we dip into the records that we bought in this most recent collection from Alan, I want to remind y'all that the Fraction Moonblood reissue is here. You can get your copy on the website, the Permanent Records website, permanentrecordsla.com. Yeah, we have these on clear and black vinyl. Both colors are limited to 500 copies and selling fast. And while you're there, you can pick up some permanent merch like the shirt that I'm wearing or this hat. We got these dad hats that everybody loves these days, embroidered with the Permanent Records Los Angeles logo on there. So anyway, yeah, like I said, we picked these records up from Alan. I'll just show them, some of them anyway. As you can see, there's many more boxes behind me. And we pulled the records each one individually up on Discogs, got the exact pressing, checked the condition, of course, and then we just made an offer on each piece. We put it all on a spreadsheet, and then the spreadsheet does the calculation for us at the end of the day. We go to the customer and tell him what that final number is, and Alan was very happy with his offer. We didn't negotiate at all. He was stoked on the amount we were offering, and I paid him via Venmo, and yeah, that's that. So that's generally how we go about buying record collections these days. Of course, there's record conventions and other record fairs and things like that where I like to go and like hand pick records piece by piece. This is a cool one. This is yeah, I go and hand pick records piece by piece, pay the vendor's price. Usually things are all priced at record convention, and you just buy the things that you know that you can use based on what they're priced at. Here's an interesting one: Denise Vallon, Positive Force. Yeah, this is a record this is like the only private pressing that was in Alan's collection. And I asked him about this, and he said that he only had this record in his collection because he played in this group. And maybe the group's called Positive Force, and Denise Vallon is the vocalist in the group. Anyway, it's a really cool private press jazz funk record. And yeah, it was like I said, the only like really obscure private pressing in the whole lot. The rest of the stuff is pretty, mostly major label stuff. So Alan was a jazz cat, as you probably could have guessed by now, but this record collection was not all jazz. By the way, if you haven't seen the video I did on the insane jazz collection that we bought not too long ago, go check that out as well. That was a really fun collection to buy and enjoy, and then price and put out for sale. There are still some of the records from that collection available for sale in the shop, although a lot of it has been purchased already. There was just so many amazing records, amazingly rare jazz records in insanely good condition in that collection. But yeah, Alan's collection was more eclectic. This, as you can see, is a very well curated collection from by a gentleman who just had great taste in music of all different genres. So you have, as you saw at the beginning, some Pharoah Sanders and other jazz records, but you also have, new wave Talking Heads and even some punk. There was a Sex Pistols record a moment ago, and alternative rock. But yeah, just a really, really cool collection. If you're not already familiar with this Hugh Masekela record, it features the Hedzilla Sounds, who were an Afrobeat group. That record is absolutely stunning and probably one of the least expensive Afrobeat records you can get your hands on. Just amazing stuff. There was a fair amount of Brazilian stuff. That's a Nascimento record there. Again, a lot of classics in all genres. I think the first record I pulled out of the box was Rain Dogs by Tom Waits, and that's just a stone cold classic. And you saw the Flying Burrito Brothers record. We got this Dillard and Clark record, Fantastic Expedition. A bunch of Brian Eno. Amazing stuff in this lot. Nick Drake. I mean, I assume everybody watching this video has heard Nick Drake. If you haven't, if you're into 60s singer-songwriters and you're not familiar with Nick Drake, run. Don't walk to your nearest record store and pick yourself up a copy of Pink Moon or any of his albums. They're absolutely amazing. But yeah, not only was this record collection chock full of really great stuff, it's all in immaculate condition. Well, I can't say that about this OG pressing of Charlie Mingus's The Clown, but still, 99% of it is VG Plus or better. The vinyl was very well taken care of. Alan considered himself a bit of an audiophile, and took very good care of his stuff. He also was very discerning when he bought it, both in terms of the titles of the records involved and the condition. So just unbelievable. It's like when it rains, it pours. There are some times where record dealers like myself go through dry spells, and Alan also bought modern records too, which is cool. It's a rare thing to have a Wilco record mixed in with primarily records from the 80s and earlier, but Alan decided to get back into record collecting during the resurgence and picked up some reissues, mostly reissues of more modern records too. So it's cool to see that. Man, just love On the Beach, such a classic album. another punk classic here, ex Los Angeles. I feel like I should be talking a little bit more about how we buy record collections, but I feel like I already kind of went over that. It's pretty straightforward. There are times when, you know, the record collection is not movable, or, you know, maybe we don't have access to the internet, we can't use Discogs. There's certainly ways of, again, using the law of averages, just cool strategies title there for you spiritual jazz heads out there. And yeah, you know, we probably could have figured out a fair offer for this collection without using the internet, but if it's available to you and you're not using it, you gotta wonder why, right? So don't let somebody come to your house, take a look at your records for 5 minutes, and then try to tell you that they're only worth, you know, $1 a piece or something. That's just absolutely insane. That kind of stuff used to happen all the time pre-internet. You got people who know what the value of records are. This Pharaoh record is surprisingly valuable these days. Didn't used to always be that way, but it is now. And now the internet has really leveled the playing field. Like, I know what records are the most desirable to my customers, but that doesn't mean that we can't figure out the value of any given record by using Discogs. It's that simple. It's really easy. And if you're selling records, you should definitely make sure that the person buying them from you is using Discogs to base their offer on. Otherwise, they're just pulling numbers out of thin air, and that's really not cool. And it gives people like myself a bad reputation. It gives record dealers who are reputable a bad name. And, you know, it really bums me out. I've heard all sorts of horror stories of people getting ripped off with amazing record collections, and it just saddens me to know that they didn't get what they should have for their records. Records are really important and really special items that have a lot of not only monetary, but they have sentimental value to them. So I treat each and every record collection I go and look at as if it was somebody's personal collection of art or writing or music or you name it. It's really important that you I, as a record buyer, treat everybody's record collection with the utmost respect and offer them, regardless of whether it seems like they know what they have or not, a fair offer for their good records. Of course, there are sometimes record collections that you go and take a look at that just are not interesting, not sellable, and you have to pass on them. And that's okay. And if somebody, if you're selling a record collection that you don't know anything about, and somebody comes and tells you that your records are worthless, they may be right. And you should then not sell them to them, because why would they want to buy them if they're worthless, right? So use your common sense when you're selling record collections. Call a reputable seller, a record store owner or a dealer that has some skin in the game, has a reputation that they want to maintain, and make sure you are dealing with someone that you trust, because there are a lot of shysters out there in the world, and a lot of people who will look to game you if they can and take advantage, and just don't let them do that. Come to a place like Permanent Records or your local record store if you trust them. I love the jacket on this Sir Douglas Quintet record, it's so cool. And get a fair shake, because I know we all love records and we never want to have to let them go, but you can't take them to the grave. And sometimes if you're moving a great distance or downsizing, it's not worth putting them in storage either, because you're going to have to pay for that storage unit, and then you're essentially buying the records that are in the storage unit over and over again without having access to those records regularly. And what's the point, you know? So don't be afraid to unload records, because building the collection back up is half the fun of it. And but don't be silly. Go with somebody you know, go with someone you trust, and ask them to see the spreadsheet that they're working into, and make sure you get a fair shake. Well, I couldn't make it through all of the records. Obviously, here's one beautiful Brazilian record to go out on, but that's the gist of how we buy records at Permanent Records here in LA. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have a record collection for sale, feel free to drop us a line. Our contact info is on our website at permanentrecordsla.com. Thanks again, y'all, and we'll see you again soon with another video. One last thing, just FYI, none of these records are for sale just yet as of the date that I post this video. We will be offering these records up for sale soon, but we have a whole backlog of records that we're working on before we get to these, including the palette of records that we brought back from Europe with us. So please hold your messages about any of the records you saw in this video. They are not for sale yet, but please do comment below with any questions or comments or anything that you'd like to discuss. I'd love to hear your ideas on future videos, etc. What you'd like to hear from us, what kind of information you want from me. I'm happy to share. I'm an open book. That's what I'm here for. Thank you, vinyl community. We appreciate you, and we'll see you back here again with another video soon.